Hey, what's poppin', people? I'm Cade Shear, and this is my channel, Cade Shear Fishing. Sorry, it's been a while since I posted last. It's been about a week or so, but I'm back here, and we've got another banger for y'all. So, we cracked open the boat apartment where I keep all my tackle and supplies, and I got my line box. So what I'm going to be talking about is different types of fishing line, the three main types of fishing line, and I'm going to talk about the advantages that each of them have. So first, I'm going to show you what I got. There are the three types are monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braid. Here is some 15-pound monofilament on a 500-yard spool. This will last me a while. This brand right here, the Trilene Big Game, the brand, is a really good brand for monofilament, because it's almost like fluorocarbon. Here, we've got some from the same brand, Berkley. We've got some fluorocarbon. Berkley is a really good brand, because they put a lot of science into their lines. They put a lot of science into all of their products for fishing. And then there is braid. I do not have any braid spooled up, because braid is expensive, and it is also very thin, so a lot of it can go on a reel. So I have braid on this bait caster right here. I don't know if I can see. Let me get closer. Braid right there. And I could still put another 75 yards of braid on this spool, and there's already 200 yards on this spool. So let me talk about all the different types. First, I'm going to talk about monofilament. So, monofilament is definitely the oldest type of fishing line. It's the most original. Everyone has it. Everyone has used it. With monofilament, it is really good to throw with topwater, because monofilament does not sink. And if you're fishing topwater, you want it to stay on the top of your water. Everyone who uses monofilament thinks it's the best, but they're all equally as good. But monofilament has real good stretch. It stretches a lot. It's real elastic. So that can cause for a weaker hook set. It also can reflect sunlight, so fish can see this underwater, which is not good, because if there's the slightest difference in appearance of that bait, then the fish do not want to bite it, especially in the winter time. Here is the fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is a lot like the texture of monofilament, but it is much thinner. It is much thinner. Fluorocarbon does not reflect sunlight, so when it is in the water, it is completely invisible. It does not stretch as much as monofilament. So I fish this with jigs, chatterbaits, Texas rig worms. I would throw monofilament on most of my baits that I throw with. And most of my poles, I would use monofilament. On my TP1X speed stick with a Lew's Classic Pro, I throw my fluorocarbon, and I throw that with jigs and with chatterbaits. Next up is braid. So braided line is very thin, and it has no stretch at all. And it casts really far. So there's this thing called memory with line, and if a line is rolled up on a spool long enough, then if you undo it, then that line will become coiled without a spool. So monofilament has a lot of memory. It coils up a bunch. Braid has zero memory, and fluorocarbon has some memory. But with braid, I would fish this when I'm flipping when I'm also fishing frogs, because that is with the rough stuff. When you hook set, you don't want the fish to get away, and with stretch in the line, when the hook set gets away, then it really defeats the purpose. Because when the stretch is in the line and you're fishing in like the rough stuff in like a brush pile or lily pads, then monofilaments can stretch, making the fish eligible to get caught in something like around a post or in a brush pile. Braid, you would fish around lily pads, because they get cut through the lily pads and it won't like change the direction of the bait and how it's moving and how it works. So braid it has no stretch and is very, very thin. It is extremely thin. Braid does float, but because of how thin it is, it does not like make the lure go in all sorts of directions. It does not prevent the lure's reaction in the water. So with monofilament, I would throw topwater. And anything else I would not seem fit for either fluorocarbon or braid, I would throw monofilament. So what that means is, if I have nothing to if I don't want to throw a bait with braid or fluorocarbon, I'll throw it with monofilament. It's kind of just, it's there for like a backup. Fluorocarbon I would throw with Texas rigs, jigs, chatterbaits. What are some other? That's really it. All that goes like underwater in like depth. With monofilament, I'd probably use jerkbaits and crankbaits on a monofilament. But that's just because they float, and you don't want those jerkbaits and crankbaits diving too deep where the fish are not going to be. With braid, I would fish this around lily pads. I would fish this in frogs, because you fish frogs with the rough stuff. And if you hook set a frog and the line has stretch, then it'll get caught in that rough stuff. Also, there's one thing about braid. If you hook set too hard with braid, it'll just yank the lure out of the mouth. And that is because there's no stretch to it, so it can be too fierce and pull it out of the mouth. I also fish this with craws and beavers, because you fish craws and beavers in like brush piles, or when it's very like messy, muddy water that's on the ground. So you would flip this in there, because braid can cast very long. You don't need to cast it. You flip it, and then you pop it around a little. You get a good hook set, and it doesn't get stuck in the brush pile. So that is all I have for you today. I'm really cold, because it's like sleet, hailing outside right now. It's gonna snow in Louisiana soon, so that'll be cool. New videos are coming. We're gonna get the boat on the water soon, and stay tuned for that. I will be casting out, and I will be showing y'all some more fish soon. Thanks for sticking with the channel. Sorry it hasn't been a while since I posted, but y'all mean everything to me. I hope y'all are learning stuff with these videos. If not, give me some pointers down in the comments. Comment down below what else you want to see. And thanks for watching this video. That's all I have for you today. Peace.